a relationship, I believe, develops over time. Obviously, like, a lot of people say the first 5 years are your hardest or whatever. Or no, it's like the first 3 years, whatever. Are your hardest. I think that that's possibly true. I'd say your hardest is when you have a kid. Like, if you have a kid, that's going to be your hardest time. Because when you have a kid, it puts a lot of stress on everything. Yes?
This is a psychologically proven fact. Statistic. The first 2 to 6 years and then 26 years plus are the hardest years, most difficult years, and most likely you will to separate or divorce the person that you're with.
Really?
Yeah. 2 to 6 years and then 26 plus.
I can see how that is because, like, you lose a spark. Like,
2 to 6 years. Like 26 plus, that's when you lose the spark. That's when your kids are gone. That's after you've done all those, oh, I want to do this once the kids leave. And then you're like, okay, we're done doing all the stuff we want to do. Now what do we do? And then 2 to 6 years is the thing that I explained to you about finding that person that you want and how society's backwards and they find your values last. And you finally get to the deeper core of that person that you meet, your values, because you get to that after a year of knowing them. Because people are like, hey, you're hot, I'm going to start talking to you. Then they start talking to you. You find that you have something in common with them. Then you're like, oh, we have something in common. We like the same band, we like booty. Yeah. And then after that, you're like, oh, we're starting to get serious. I want you a part of my life. I'm going to take you to meet my friends. I'm going to take you to meet my family. And then that stage, those 3 stages, you dwell in those 3 stages for about a year. I mean, you start to get a little closer to the values and stuff of that last stage of your relationship, but you don't, like, completely delve into that until, like, later in the relationship. Like, when you and me met, we weren't as close as we are now until, like, a year into our relationship. Like, we had, like,
because our relationship grows over time.
Yeah, because our relationship grows over time. Which is why you're actually supposed to, even though when you date a friend and it doesn't work out, then you guys can't be friends anymore. But when your best friend, when you date your best friend, that's when that works out. Because your partner is supposed to be your best friend and your partner.
Best friend with benefits.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
and I've been saying this for how long?
The values, your religion, your moral views, your politic views, all that stuff. That is the most important part in a relationship. Because it doesn't matter if you guys like the same band, if you guys like to play soccer, because when you're 80 years old, it's not going to matter if you like the same band. You're not going to go on a soccer date when you got arthritis in your kneecaps, okay? Because, so it matters if you're, like, having deep conversations with them where you understand each other, where you
relate,
are on the same page. Like, you can
understand.
Exactly.
Okay, another thing that I think that society does, like, I know I blame everything on society, but this is true, and I think you'll agree with it.
Yeah.
You're just like, shut up right now. I'm like, yeah. Alright, okay, so something that society does. Okay, first of all, they start relationships out really, really soon. Like, people in middle school are dating right now. I bet you there's people in lower school that are dating right now.
Yeah,
it's absolutely... It's outrageous. Yes. And then, okay, second thing. Because they start the relationship so soon, and I'm not just saying, like, for little kids, too. Like, I know some adults that live their life by this. They act like, is Prada that little purse brand or whatever?
Sorry.
Is, Prada that little, okay, girls nowadays act like they own the world. They don't. They cut off their emotions. They cut off everything. And then they're like, okay, so here's my emotions over here. And then here's my style, my life, my ambition, my boyfriend, my super sexy boyfriend, my porn star boyfriend, whatever, okay? Like, you see what I'm trying to get at right now? they cut all their emotions, all their morals, all their religion. Everything that matters in a relationship is cut off. Therefore, when they get into that relationship, they're gonna go on fake emotions, fake morals, fake religion.
Exactly.
And they're so fake. And society does that. And I think that's where...
You can't have a relationship that's fake. If I went up to Troy and every single thing that he said he liked that I said I liked, our relationship would be shit. If he says he likes something and I don't like it, then I'm gonna say so. If he wants to be Rastafarian, and I'm like, that's good for you, babe. I don't really want to be Rastafarian. You're okay with that, I'm okay with that. I mean, you're gonna be vegan, that's gonna be really hard for you, and that's gonna be hard for me when I'm eating around you. You're gonna be smoking a lot of weed, and that's not necessarily what I want to do. But that's you as a person, and as long as you don't taint me, as long as you don't change me with what you're doing, I'm not gonna change you. I accept you for who you are, and I love you for being your own individual person. Even though we have a lot of stuff in common, doesn't mean that we can't have stuff that we disagree on, because we're different people. And if I was dating somebody that was exactly like me, that would be boring as shit. I mean, like, I might as well get a Post-it board, like a big cutout of myself, strap a dildo to it, and call it my boyfriend, if that's what I want.
Oh, Val.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay, so when I say that, I'm like, man, if I had someone exactly like me, I would fall in love with them.
No, you wouldn't.
And I was thinking about it the other night, and I'm like, no, I really wouldn't, because it would be boring, because I don't really know everything.
That's when relationships get boring. You can't date yourself.
Exactly, and that's what I was thinking about, like, 2 nights ago. Yeah, I think it was 2 nights ago. It might have been last night, I don't know. I lost track of time a while ago. Anyway, but yeah, like, I was thinking about that, and I'm like, no, you'd like my body, and you'd respect my morals, but you'd already know every moral, and you'd have everything the same, therefore there'd be nothing new to talk about, or to discuss, or have a hippie talk about.
That's what girls don't understand. If you're everything that is that guy, if you go up, or like, oh my god, I like the lacrosse too, when you've like never even seen a fucking lacrosse ball in your life, like, you are boring, because a guy does not want to fuck himself. A guy actually wants somebody that he can talk to. When a guy actually wants a relationship, he wants a relationship, not a fucking mirror. Like, do you understand?
Girls don't want that either,
I don't want that either.
Okay, yeah, I started to say the word appetizing. I'm just gonna go with it.
Appetizing?
It's appetizing. It's appetizing, yes. To have the same person for a little bit, but once you get to know them and be like, oh, you're like a reflection of myself. You're not fun anymore. You're boring. Like, that's when I think, like, it's fun in the beginning because it's like, oh, we have so much in common. Woohoo! But then you're like, oh shit, we are too much alike. And it's like, I have nothing to talk about with you anymore. Why are you smiling?
Like, I'm not saying that when people say, I don't believe in the thing that says opposites attract, because it's not to that extent where you're opposite. Me and Troy, we are in the same in some ways, and we're different in some ways. It has to balance out. It's not plus and negative magnets together. It's not like that. Like, it's a mixture. You balance out of what you guys have in common and what you guys disagree with about, because that has to balance out. If not...
Okay, if you get too balanced, though, then there's never going to be anything interesting. And as you're right, as we were saying earlier, with, what's the age or years that you get?
26 plus.
26 and plus. So when you get to that 26 plus, you're going to be balanced out, and you're going to be chilled out. You're going to know everything about that person for the most part. There's going to be,
just enjoy yourself.
And yeah, and I think that's where also a lot of it goes wrong, because once you're balanced, like, yes, you have a fun life, you're living the dream, whatever, but if there's no unstableness,
Exactly.
then you're just gonna lose connection. You know what I'm
You
saying?
cannot-
Because when you're on balance, you aren't moving closer to each other,
Exactly.
you're staying in your spot. When you move up and down, you slide.
Yes.
And that's when it
You
comes to
cannot
balance.
be in a
the middle.
safe relationship and be happy for a long time. If your relationship is perfectly safe, 100% safe, nothing is going to go wrong. We're going to be together forever. We agree on everything. That's not a safe relationship is not a good relationship because that relationship will go sour so fast. After a month, after 2 months of agreeing with each other and liking the same thing as each other do and everything, just being a human, like, what is it called when you, like, record something and echo it back? You know what I mean? Like, you're just repeating every single thing that your partner says. You're not thinking for yourself.
Right. Echo.
Yeah, you're an echo. Like, that's not interesting.
You're like a parrot. You know how parrots, like, if you say shit, they'll say shit right back at you? It's like you're a parrot, and then when you're a parrot, like, who wants to talk to a parrot forever, because they get really annoying, because they're like, so, like,
it's
no.
Nobody wants to date themselves.
No one wants to balance. Okay, people always say, I want that balanced relationship. You really don't, because
You don't.
once you get there, yeah, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be chill, but if you don't have any unbalance, you guys aren't gonna get any closer. I like my little thing of like, okay, so picture a level, fulcrum, this thing. So if someone's over here, someone's over here. You're on opposite sides when you're balanced. When it goes up or down, you have to slide to each other.
No, listen, you're a fucking boat, okay? You're a fucking boat on the water. You don't got no motor, you're just sitting on the boat. You're in a little canoe, no paddles, no nothing. You're sitting in a boat. And there's land. There's land. But if the water does not move, if there are no waves, if there is no current, if there is no life in the water that's pushing and arguing with you
grow.
in the boat,
No. Okay.
you're not going to get
I see
anywhere.
your analogy. You aren't going to get anywhere. Okay, so your object is to get to that island. Guess what's on the island? Living and life. Living the life, living the love, living it.
Fucking sex. Sex is the island. You can't get to sex if you don't fight.
Yeah, it's like the makeup sex after you fight, and then it's like, oh, let's make up. Okay, we done.
I love you, Lee.
Okay, but yeah, I like your analogy. That's what it's called, an analogy.
Analogy,
Analogy, right there.
Don't you love this flower?
If you're, I love those flowers.
real?
Just saying, I've noticed them for quite some time, and I'm just like, they're quite cute.
Sorry, go on.
Okay, anyway, I like your analogy of the boat on the water, because if there's no waves, if there's no current, you aren't gonna get to that beach. And if you don't get to that beach, you're gonna run dry and you're gonna die.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Right there.
That land to get that stuff. Now.
What are you having sex? The heck? Let's see some titties. Yeah. I'm gonna sand titties.